Amy Winehouse. A voice unlike any other, a soul that could break your heart in a single note, and a woman whose fame turned into a cage she could never escape. On July 23, 2011, the world was told that Amy died of alcohol poisoning, but from the very beginning, the details surrounding her final days seemed off. A sudden death after weeks of sobriety, empty bottles placed unusually, neighbors hearing strange noises the night before, and a career that was rising again after years of struggle. Fans and investigators quickly asked the question, was Amy's death really just a tragic accident, or was there something far more mysterious behind it? Tonight, we uncover the shadows surrounding her final moments. We explore the emotional storms she faced, the pressure from the media, the questionable environment she lived in, and the theories that still circulate about what truly happened inside that Camden home. This is not just the story of a superstar's downfall. It is a haunting journey into the unexplained. Amy Winehouse was born with a voice that didn't belong to her time. It belonged to the smoky jazz bars of the 1950s. Her raw emotion, unmatched tone, and fearless honesty made her a global sensation. Songs like Rehab and Back to Black defined an entire era of music. But behind the voice was a deeply sensitive soul battling extreme anxiety, depression, and a never-ending war with addiction. The more famous she became, the more the media turned her pain into entertainment. Every relapse, every heartbreak, every breakdown captured, sold, mocked, printed, repeated. Amy wasn't just a celebrity. She became a public spectacle. And slowly, the pressure began to crush her. Amy's relationship with Blake Fielder Civil was passionate, toxic, and destructive. It introduced her to harder drugs, spiraling her deeper into addiction. Their love story was filled with fights, betrayals, reconciliations, and emotional wounds that never fully healed. While Blake often took the blame in public discussions, the truth was more complicated. Amy suffered from mental health struggles long before meeting him. Fame amplified everything. Every heartbreak turned into public humiliation. Every relapse became tabloid gold. Her emotional foundation began to collapse, and the world watched it happen in real time. But beneath the chaos, Amy desperately wanted to get better. By early 2011, Amy was beginning to recover. Sources close to her said she was healthier, happier, and planning a comeback album. She was attending therapy, spending time with family, and staying away from heavy drugs. For the first time in years, Amy felt hopeful. Her management announced a European tour, but tragically, her first performance in Serbia turned into a heartbreaking disaster. She forgot lyrics, stumbled on stage, and seemed lost. Videos went viral overnight, and criticism flooded the internet. Touched by humiliation, Amy canceled the tour and returned home to London. On the night of July 22, 2011, Amy spent hours with her bodyguard, Andrew Morris. They talked, watched TV, and listened to music. Morris later reported she was laughing, singing, and in good spirits. But neighbors heard unusual noises throughout the night, thumps, muffled sounds, and something that felt like pacing. Amy's phone showed messages she never replied to. Her computer had a chat window open from hours earlier. Something about the night felt incomplete. Around 10 a.m. the next morning, Morris checked her room again, and this time, Amy was silent. He found her lying on her bed, unresponsive. Paramedics arrived quickly, but it was already too late. She was declared dead at 3:54 p.m. The coroner's report stated Amy died from alcohol poisoning, with a level of 4/16 per 100 mb in her blood enough to stop breathing. But here's where the mystery deepens. Amy had reportedly been sober for weeks leading up to her death. Her body would have lost tolerance, meaning even a moderate amount could overwhelm her. Yet the scene inside her room had strange inconsistencies. Bottles appeared to be placed, not dropped. There were no signs of vomiting or struggle. Her body was found in a peaceful sleeping position, which some experts argued didn't match a sudden alcohol poisoning collapse. And then came the most disturbing detail. The bodyguard checked on her earlier and thought she was sleeping. If she were alive then, the timeline becomes even more questionable. Some believe Amy relapsed suddenly, drinking heavily after weeks of sobriety, overwhelming her weakened body. Yet supporters of the unnatural death theory argue that this explanation feels too clean, too convenient. Why would she relapse on that very night? Why were there no fingerprints on some of the bottles? Why didn't neighbors hear her fall or struggle? Why did the body appear unusually calm? These questions sparked a wave of alternative theories. Many point to the brutal pressure from her label, management, and the media. Amy was reportedly pushed to perform even when she was mentally fragile. Some insiders suggested she was threatened with losing her career if she didn't complete her tour. Others believe she was spiraling emotionally after the Serbia concert humiliation. But did pressure alone destroy her, or was someone else pulling strings behind the scenes? One of the most controversial discussions revolves around the role of her bodyguard. Andrew Morris was the last person to see her alive. He stated she was sleeping earlier, but experts questioned this. Alcohol poisoning symptoms include shallow breathing, dramatic drops in pulse, and unconsciousness that looks like deep sleep. Could he have mistaken her condition? And if so, could she have survived if she received help earlier? Some fans go even further, suggesting that Amy may have been left alone intentionally during a vulnerable moment. Several conspiracy theories emerged in the years that followed. Some claim Amy was controlled by industry forces who benefited from her tragic image. Others suggest financial motives, disputes over her music rights, or even intentional sabotage. A small but vocal group believes Amy didn't die from alcohol alone, but that something else happened that night. Something that was hidden or overlooked to protect reputations and financial interests. More than a decade later, Amy Winehouse's death continues to feel incomplete. Her voice still echoes across the world, raw, powerful, heartbreaking. But so does the unanswered question: why did she die that night? Was it truly an accidental overdose, or was her story twisted into a convenient narrative? Amy Winehouse wasn't just a singer. She was a soul who lived too intensely, loved too deeply, and felt too strongly for a world that refused to let her breathe. Her life was a storm of brilliance and pain, and her death remains one of the most haunting mysteries in modern music history.